What if I told you that the most important secret in the entire Bible has been hiding in plain sight for thousands of years, tucked inside the story of a man who lost absolutely everything and still chose to trust God? Today, we are going to unpack something so powerful that it has the potential to completely rewire the way you think about every hard thing you are currently walking through. If you have ever asked God, why? If you have ever felt like your faith was hanging by a thread, or if you have ever wondered whether your suffering even has a point, then stay right here, because what we are about to explore is going to change you. This is not just Bible trivia. This is a revelation that Job himself had to go through unimaginable darkness to discover, and today you get to access it. Let us start with who Job actually was, because before we can understand the secret, we need to understand what was at stake. Job was not just a good man. The Bible describes him as the greatest man among all the people of the East. He was wealthy beyond what most of us can imagine. 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, 500 donkeys, and a household full of servants managing all of it. He had 10 children, a thriving family life, and most importantly, a reputation for being blameless and upright before God. This man was not barely getting by. He was flourishing in every visible way. And then, in a single day, it all collapsed. First, raiders attacked and stole his oxen and donkeys, killing his servants. Before that messenger even finished speaking, another arrived. Fire had fallen from the sky and consumed his sheep and the workers tending them. Then a third messenger came. His camels were stolen and more servants killed. And then the news that no parent could ever be prepared to hear. All 10 of his children had died when a violent wind caused a house to collapse on them during a family gathering. One day, everything gone. What Job did next is where the story begins to get interesting. He tore his clothes. He shaved his head in grief. He fell to the ground and then he worshipped. He did not curse God. He did not walk away from his faith. He said, "The Lord gave and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." This is already remarkable, but the story is not done. After this, Job's health was attacked. Painful sores broke out across his entire body, from head to toe. The physical suffering was so intense that he sat in ashes, scraping his skin. His wife, who had also survived the devastation and was watching her husband suffer, urged him to just curse God and be done with it. She could not understand why he was holding on. And then his friends showed up. They came with what they believed were helpful explanations. They were convinced that Job must have committed serious sins to deserve all of this, because at the time, suffering was interpreted as divine punishment. So rather than comforting him, they interrogated him. They accused him. They invented lists of sins he might have committed to explain his situation. Now, here is something important that most people miss when they read Job. His friends were not entirely wrong in their theology about God being just. They were wrong in their application of it. They took a true principle and misapplied it to a specific situation they did not fully understand. And Job had to defend his integrity. over and over, while simultaneously dealing with pain that most of us cannot even comprehend. The emotional, spiritual, and relational weight of what he carried was crushing. And yet, even in this darkness, Job never fully let go. He had moments of profound despair. He cursed the day he was born. He questioned God openly. He demanded that God show up and give him answers. His faith was not the sanitized, comfortable kind that never gets rattled. It was raw, honest, bleeding faith that kept crawling back to God even when it could not stand. This is the first layer of Job's secret. Real faith is not the absence of doubt. It is choosing to seek God anyway, in spite of the doubt. Job did not pretend that he was okay. He did not manufacture praise when he felt destroyed inside. He brought his full broken self before God and kept the conversation alive, even when it felt like God was not listening. Then something extraordinary happened. God answered Job out of a storm. Not with explanations, not with an apology, not with a detailed breakdown of why everything happened the way it did. Instead, God took Job on a tour of the universe. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Have you walked in the depths of the ocean? Can you bind the stars together or guide the constellations? Do you know how the rain forms, or where light lives, or where darkness goes when the morning comes? What God was doing was not dismissing Job's pain. He was expanding Job's perspective. He was showing Job that the same God who manages the incomprehensible complexity of the entire created universe was also the God who was managing Job's situation. The implication was clear. If God holds all of that together with perfect wisdom and perfect attention to detail, including the things no human eye will ever see, then maybe Job's suffering was not evidence of an absent or careless God. Maybe it was happening within a context far too large for Job to fully see from where he was standing. This is the core of Job's secret. The secret is not a formula for avoiding suffering. The secret is not a promise that good behavior equals a comfortable life. The secret that every believer genuinely needs to understand is this: God's wisdom and God's care operate on a scale that human perspective simply cannot contain. When life falls apart and you cannot see the purpose, you are not seeing the whole picture. You are seeing your chapter, not the whole book. Job had an encounter with God that changed everything. He went from hearing about God secondhand to experiencing God directly. Listen to his own words at the end. He said, "My ears have heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you." That is the transformation. That is the prize hidden inside the suffering. Not the restored wealth, not the new children, not the extended lifespan, though all of those were given back to him. The real treasure was intimacy with God that could only be forged in the fire of that level of trial. This is why the Apostle James, centuries later, pointed to Job specifically as an example of perseverance. He was not highlighting Job because Job never struggled. He was highlighting him because Job kept showing up to God through every layer of the struggle and came out the other side with something no comfortable life could have produced. So what does this mean for us today? It means that when you are going through something that makes no sense, when the pain feels disproportionate to any mistake you have ever made, when even the people closest to you cannot explain what God is doing, you are in Job territory. And Job territory, as painful as it is also the territory where the most profound encounters with God happen. It means that your suffering is not proof that God has abandoned you. It might actually be evidence that God trusts you with a depth of experience that shallow faith could never survive. It means that the question to ask is not just, why is this happening to me? But, what is being built in me through this that could not be built any other way? Job's secret invites us to make a shift from a faith that is transactional, where I obey and God blesses me, to a faith that is relational, where even when the blessings are stripped away, the relationship itself is the anchor. That kind of faith does not break under pressure, it deepens. And this is ultimately what the whole arc of Job's story is pointing toward. Not that suffering is good in itself, it is not, but that God is good even inside the suffering, that He is present even when silent, that He is working even when invisible, that the story of your life is not over just because the chapter you are in feels unbearable. Job did not walk through the fire with a perfect attitude every single moment, but he walked through it. He held on. He kept talking to God. He refused to let go, and God met him there in a way that changed him forever. So here's my challenge to you. The next time you feel like your circumstances are evidence that God does not care or does not see, remember Job. Remember that the God who asked Job if he understood how morning light spreads across the earth is the same God who knows exactly what you are carrying right now. And He has not looked away from you, not even once. The secret of Job is that suffering can become the very path that leads you into the deepest experience of God you will ever have. And that experience is worth more than anything you could lose along the way. If this message connected with something in your heart today, drop a comment below and tell me what it stirred up in you. Share this with someone who is in a season of waiting or wondering or hurting right now, because they need to hear this too. Like this video and subscribe so you do not miss what is coming next, because we are just getting started.